You ever notice this pattern? You meet someone, and at first everything feels right. They're interesting, a little distant, but intriguing. Not too available, but just enough to keep you hooked. And somehow, you start caring more than they do. You text first. You wait for replies. You reread messages, trying to understand what they meant. You analyze pauses. You overthink emojis. You notice every small change in their behavior. And slowly, you begin to feel it. That quiet, uncomfortable question. Why do I always end up with people like this? Not fully there, not fully present, not fully choosing you. And the worst part? It doesn't feel new, it feels familiar. Here's the part most people miss. This isn't random. You're not just unlucky in love. You're not just meeting the wrong people. You're recognizing something your mind already understands. Because what feels familiar often feels like chemistry. Let me show you something. Imagine two people walk into your life. Well, the first one is warm, open, emotionally available. They text you back consistently. They show up. They're clear about their intentions. No confusion, no guessing. The second one is unpredictable. Sometimes they're there. Sometimes they disappear. Sometimes they're affectionate. And then suddenly distant. Now here's the question. Which one feels more exciting? Be honest. For a lot of people, it's the second one. And that says a lot. Because excitement is not always connection. Sometimes it's anxiety. If you grew up in an environment where love felt uncertain, where attention had to be earned, where you had to read moods, adjust yourself, try harder, then your brain learned a pattern, a very specific one. Love equals effort. Love equals unpredictability. Love equals something you have to win. So now, as an adult, when someone is calm and consistent, your brain doesn't recognize it as love. It recognizes it as unfamiliar, and unfamiliar feels uncomfortable. But when someone is distant, your brain lights up, because now there's something to solve, something to fix, something to chase, and suddenly you're invested. You start thinking about them more, not because they're amazing, but because they're unclear. And your brain hates uncertainty, so it tries to close the loop over and over again. This creates something powerful, an emotional hook. The less they give, the more you want. The more inconsistent they are, the more attached you become. It's not love, it's a cycle. Let's slow this down with a real example. You meet someone. At first, they're warm. They laugh at your jokes. They text you good morning. They make you feel seen. And then something shifts. They take longer to reply. They cancel plans. They feel different. Now you feel it. That drop in your stomach. That question. Did I do something wrong? And from that moment, everything changes. You start trying more. You become more available, more understanding, more patient. You excuse their behavior. You justify their distance because you're trying to get back to how it felt in the beginning. But here's the truth. That beginning wasn't stability. It was just the hook. And now you're caught in it, waiting for moments of closeness, holding on to small signs of interest, replaying conversations, hoping things will go back. And every time they give you attention, it feels like relief, like you finally did something right, like you're enough again. But notice this, you're not feeling loved, you're feeling temporarily validated. And there's a big difference. Now here's something even deeper. Sometimes you don't just attract cold people, you reject warm ones. You meet someone who is kind, consistent, emotionally open. They like you. They choose you. They don't play games. And instead of feeling safe, you feel unsure. Something's missing. There's no tension, no guessing, no emotional high. So your brain labels it boring. But it's not boring. It's just calm. And calm can feel uncomfortable when you're used to chaos. Because chaos feels alive. It feels intense. It feels like something is happening. But calm? Calm feels quiet. And if you're not used to that, it can feel like something is wrong. So you pull away, or lose interest, or tell yourself, there's no spark. But maybe the spark you're looking for is actually a pattern that keeps repeating. And here's the part that changes everything: awareness. The moment you start noticing this pattern, you create space between feeling and reaction. Next time you feel attracted to someone distant, pause. Don't chase the feeling immediately. Observe it. Ask yourself, is this attraction or is this familiarity? Because those two feel very similar, but they lead to completely different outcomes. Start looking at behavior, not potential, not who they could be, but who they are. Do they show up consistently? Do they communicate clearly? Do they make you feel secure or confused? Because real connection doesn't leave you guessing. It doesn't make you question your value. It doesn't make you feel like you have to earn basic attention. It's steady, predictable, safe. And yes, at first, that might feel unfamiliar, maybe even uncomfortable. But that's not a lack of connection. That's your nervous system learning something new. And that takes time. You don't have to force yourself to suddenly like different people, but you can start noticing what actually feels healthy. And slowly, your definition of attraction will change. You'll stop confusing anxiety with chemistry. You'll stop chasing emotional highs. You'll start choosing stability. Not because it's boring, but because it's real. And one day, you'll look back and realize you weren't attracting cold people. You were repeating a pattern that felt like home. But now, you get to choose something different.